Hey, Bayek, it's me, and in today's video, I'm looking at this. This is Shout at the Devil from 1976. I would describe it as comedy, action, drama. Though there is a lot of pathos in it, really. So you have all the comedy, but you also have some great performances by the actors, which really elevate this film. So it's 147 minutes long. Rotten Tomatoes give it 57%, which I think reflects very much the critics. They weren't all that keen on this always. I think they thought it was just not. It didn't work. I think that's what they felt, and I totally disagree. I think the comedy elements worked well in this film. Now it's based on Shout at the Devil by Wilbur Smith, South African author from 1968. That book was written. And the screenplay is by Stanley Price and Alistair Reed. And it's directed by Peter H. Hunt, who directed a James Bond film on Her Majesty's Secret Service, 1969, which I think is a brilliant, absolutely one of the best Bond films. Gold, 1974. Gulliver's Travels, 1977, Death Hunt, 1981, Wild Geese 2, and Assassination, which is a Bronson film from 1987. Quite a lot of interesting films there. Now, the music is by Maurice Jean, who did so much composing, just so many films. What a great score he produced again in this film. Absolutely love it. It's great. Then we've got, in terms of acting, it's Lee Marvin who is playing Colonel O'Flynn, and I think he does a great job. That element in this. Oh yeah, in many ways he steals the film. I have to say, Lee Marvin, he goes right back to 1951 with You're in the Navy Now, and then we've got 1954, The Caine Mutiny, which is a very high acclaimed film. Bad Day at Black Rock, 1955. The Comanches, 1961. The Man Who Shot Liberty Valance, 1962. Wow, he's in that Western. It's a classic, that one. Donovan's Reef, 1963. The Killers, 1965. That's a good one. Cat Ballou, you've heard of that one. 1965. The Dirty Dozen, great war film. 1967. Hell in the Pacific, 1968. And then, famously, in the musical Paint Your Wagon, with a very distinctive vocal voice on I Was Born Under a Wandering Star. That was a big hit from that, but everybody that, yes. Klansman, 1974. Death Hunt, 1981. Gorky Park, 1983, and his last film was Delta Force, 1986. They're just a few of the films that he was in. What a great actor he was. And then we've got, the legendary, for me, Roger Moore, who plays Sebastian Oldsmith. Roger Moore is just an absolute pleasure always to watch on screen, because he was the Saint from 1962 to 1969, which was just fantastic. He was in The Persuaders, 1971 to 1972 with Tony Curtis. Wow, that was a great series of films. He did seven James Bond films between 1973 and 1985. His first one being Live and Let Die in 1973, which I think is very good. I think it's one of my favourites. And also A View to Kill was his last one in 1985. He did a brilliant film, which I have reviewed, called The Man Who Haunted Himself from 1970, which is a personal favourite of his. He did Gold, 1974. The Wild Geese, 1978. Richard Burton, of course, heading that one. Escape to Athena, 1979. The Sea Wolves, 1980. North Sea Hijack, 1979. And he was in Spice World. I have to say it. The cameo appearance in Spice World, Spice Girls film. Amazing. Then we've got Barbara Parkins, who plays Rosa O'Flynn. She goes right back 1961 with 2000 Eyes. She was in Valley of the Dolls, 1967. She was in Mephisto Waltz, 1971, which is a great supernatural film. Asylum. I've talked about Asylum so many times. It's an Amicus film. Horror anthology, 1972, wonderful film. Bear Island, Alistair MacLean film, 1979. He wrote that, Bear Island. And Calendar Girl Murders, 1984. Then we've got Ian Holm. Very recognisable. He plays Mohammed, who's the mute servant. It's quite almost a comedy elements in this role that he plays. But Ian Holm goes back to all sorts of films in his career. 1969, Oh, What a Lovely War. He's in that. He was in Mary, Queen of Scots, 1971. He was in Nicholas and Alexandra, which I think is about 1970, which is a fantastic film, which I've reviewed on his channel. Young Winston, 1972. Juggernaut, 1974. Alien, of course. Oh, yes, he's in Alien, a brilliant film, 1979. Time Bandits, 1981. Brazil. Wait, these are amazing films, 1985. And The Fifth Element. Yeah, he's in The Fifth Element, 1997. And then, yes, 2001, he's in The Lord of the Rings. And also in 2003. What great roles. He's just absolutely wonderful. And then, of course, he does The Hobbit. Yes, in 2012 and 2014. What a great actor. Absolutely fantastic. So, what is this film about? Well, it's, as I say, it's an adventure kind of comedy film, and it's set in Zanzibar and German East Africa, 1913 to 1914. So it starts just before the outbreak of the First World War, and then of course the First World War happens, and that has an impact on the story. Now it involves Lee Marvin's character, who's O'Flynn, and he is an ivory poacher, and of course ivory was worth a lot of money, and this is where it's all about, getting lots of money. And he basically uses, he meets Sebastian Oldsmith, played by Roger Moore, this Englishman, and he thinks, all right, we can use him for this. He's almost like a naive sort of, he believes he's naive, I think, and he can use him for those purposes. But of course, another interesting part of the story is that O'Flynn has his daughter, and she's Rosa, and of course Roger Moore's the character, Oldsmith, falls for her, and they marry, and they get married, and they have a child. And that's why I said about this film having a bit of pathos in it, because the child is kind of, well, lost in the sort of there's a raid on where they're living, and they're setting fire to it, and in all that they lose her, and she dies, and that it's really sad, and it's, I don't know, I just found that really quite a poignant scene that you get about this baby dying, and it and yet within all that comedy we've had all that that affects the whole thing, because the person responsible for that, the German, will obviously somebody that is going to be important in terms of when they meet up, in terms of fighting the war that is going to break out. And that's a great moment in the film as well. But yeah, once, of course, the outbreak of the First World War happens, that's when really things start to play out. This is a really great adventure film, I mentioned about the comedy and Lee Marvin's performance. He's a bit of a drunk, really, but it's just good. It's good. The humour's there, but then everything, I can't say enough about it. It kind of surprised me, really, how good this film was. It really was. I just totally enjoyed it. You can't say anything better than that. I just sat back and just, it was an adventure comedy, really, and I loved it. And I'll just show you. There it is. Shout at the devil. There is an absolutely brilliant hour-long documentary on here about the life of Roger Moore. Wow, that is absolutely fantastic. What a documentary, and you learn so much about Roger Moore. I absolutely love that. It was just worth so much. Absolutely. What can I say? Anyhow, that's it. I think I've gone on too long about this, but this film is highly recommended if you've not seen it. Great film. Absolutely loved it. And that's it. So if you're new to the channel, please subscribe, and do a lot of film reviews. And you look in the playlist, you can see all the film reviews I've done. But I do TV series as well, and some music. So have a look in the playlist, you might enjoy something. And if you like this particular video, please give this video a like. If you give it a like, then it goes out onto YouTube, and hopefully algorithms and all that stuff, and other people might enjoy it. And if you have any comments, please put your comments down. I love to read your comments, and we'll always answer them. And that's it, really. So all I've got to say is, I'll see thee again.